So I put conditions on my unconditional love. How does that even make sense? Well, I put conditions on it because I have a little dog, and you guys know about him. If the first time you're tuning in, welcome to Inchstones. We take 3,000-year-old wisdom and we make it applicable today. We take about 15, 20 minutes, and you could take us on your walk. We want to fill you up with wisdom. We want to build your heart. We want to build your mind, and we want to build your skills. And then that way we put them in line. It creates an irresistible vibe for every single one of you. But what we're working on with Inchstones is the heart, and fill in that with wisdom. Well, I got a little dog named Ziggy, very beautiful, handsome dog, but I tell you, he tries my patience. I thought that I had some unconditional love for him, but my love recently has been conditional. Told you a couple episodes back, I woke up, I took him out to go to the bathroom. He went to the bathroom. I walked back in. It was dark in the house, stepped barefoot in some dog poop, and it was his, and he was looking at me while I did it. I stepped the other day and I walked through, just put some new fresh socks on, and then I stepped right in where he had peed on the rug. And there's nothing like having pee on your sock because there's nothing you could do. A wet sock is nasty. And then I saw that he chewed something up. He chewed a wire up. He chewed this up. He went and I was like, man, I am putting some conditions on this unconditional love that I'm supposed to have. But we hear quotes all the time that like loving the person and not the action, unconditional love, knows no boundaries. These all sound great until life smacks you in the face with something. And then you start to think like, okay, well, could there be some conditions on this love? The cool thing is what God gives us is an example of unconditional love. In Proverbs 7, it reminds us that God's unconditional love is not just a fluffy bumper sticker. It is rooted and grounded in truth, although it reminds us of the grace that serves as the secret ingredient that will power it. And this grace is not something that I extend all the time. With Ziggy, I didn't extend any grace to him when he peed on the rug. I just wanted to shake him. I wanted to stuff his face in it, rub his face in it, and do all the stuff. But I started to ask, is God's love conditional with me? Well, it's not. Well, is my love conditional? Well, yes, absolutely 100%. I'd like to think that I practice this unconditional love. But even, a couple of days ago, I went to church. And when I was there, I had a great day. I had great notes. I came home. I walked in the house. And right when I walked in the house, Ziggy had tore up the trash can. And I lost it. And I just looked at him and I thought as if he knew that I was mad at him. So I just been giving him the silent treatment to a dog. But I've been putting these conditions on the unconditional love that I'm supposed to have. But it's cool because in Proverbs 7, God gives us the breakdown of how to be able to have this unconditional love. And it's the secret ingredient to it is grace. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got two shines, so every day I climb. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
I learned this very early on in my career, but I started to do it here with the podcast too because I put a screen up where I could look at my face. And one person sang a song, "If you're happy and you know it, tell your face." And what I learned very early on in my career was if you were answering a phone and you just put a mirror on the phone, or a mirror next to the phone, you actually, if you smiled or you saw your reflection, a lot of times you would smile and you would change the tone of your voice and the energy that you were going in. So it's just a little trick that if you want to do, it can help out tremendously, which I think will be good. But that's my random fact of today. But I want want to go back to this putting conditions on unconditional love. Like I've been doing this a lot. Like I've been, how many times as we're coming up towards Christmas, you already bought someone a Christmas present and you're so excited to get it to them because you know they're going to love it. And then they wrong you. They do something wrong and you're almost like, wow, maybe I should keep that gift receipt and take that gift back. I don't know about you, but I mean, I've been in that spot. And it's troubled me a little bit. And then God calls me to it. And he's like, yo, I got unconditional love with you. I want you to practice that. But the only way that you could practice that is by accepting my grace and realizing that no matter what you do, I'm still going to love you the same as before you did it. And if you accept that grace, then you could pour that grace onto other people. But if you haven't accepted it first, then you're going to hold people to a standard that is going to be, unattainable. And I've been doing that. So, in Proverbs 7, it takes us through and it talks about unconditional love, right? And so that grace is massive. In verse 1-4, circumstantial knowledge can bring victory in the battle, although principle-based wisdom will win the war. Which would you prefer to focus on? And this was a question that God asked me, as I sat down, because circumstantial knowledge can bring victory in the battle, although principle-based wisdom will win the war. So which one would you prefer to focus on? You want to win the battle, you want to win the war? Well, there's a lot of times where I just want to win the battle. I just want to be right at that particular time. And then I don't realize that it's going to hurt me down the road. And I would stop for a second and just, this is what my wife helps me to be able to do is take a breath. And especially if you're a business owner, and something goes wrong in your culture or in your team or whatever it is, take a breath and ask yourself, do I want to win this battle or would I rather win the war? And when I look at it in 5 years from now, is it going to seem that large? If it is going to, and it's going to affect, then take the proper time to be able to communicate it. But if not, maybe we should back off, take a breath, count to 10, and just chill out for a second and allow it to pass. In verse 5, it says, beware of unsavory things that appear savory in the moment. I'll say it again. Beware of unsavory things that appear savory in the moment. Most unsavory things appear savory in the moment. So just be conscious of this. And this was a call out for us is, to be able to look at that. And again, it's just take a breath, step back for a little bit, take a little bit of time. This is, advice that I get from my wife. Sometimes I don't listen to it and I don't apply it. But it hit me in the face with Proverbs 7 today, because that's what God was saying is beware of it. Beware of those unsavory things that will appear to be savory in the moment. In verse 6-20, lies will sound sweet when the light is dim. When the light is dim, you can't see all the details. When the light is dim, we have the tendency to not be able to see everything that's going on. When the light is dim, lies will sound so sweet. But when the light is on, we can see that lie from a mile away. How can we turn the light on? Simply by filling our heart with wisdom. Where will we get it? From the fear of God. What is the fear of God? It's the respect of God. How can we respect God? Spend time with him. See his words, his actions, they're in line, and you'll start to respect him. Because anyone who you see that says something and then does something and it's in line, you'll start to respect that person, no matter who it is. And I even find that negative people will be like, I don't like that person, but I respect them. They say something, then they do it. Even though it's not what I agree with, they're in line. And I tell you, when that alignment happens, saying it and doing it, it'll create a respect. When you respect or fear God, that's the beginning of wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge, right? And that will shine light on so many things. In verse 21-23, talk will lead to thought, and thought will create action. Talk comes from the overflow of your heart. This one hit me like a ton of bricks. Talk will lead to thought. Thought will create action. Talk comes from an overflow of your heart. So what my mom used to say to me all the time, boy, guard your heart, watch your mouth, guard your heart, watch your mouth. Well, if I watch my mouth, meaning I not only stay conscious of the things I'm saying, but also become aware of them. So when I say them, realize that they're nothing more than overflow of my heart. If they're overflow of my heart, they got in there somehow. The only way something could get into your heart is through your eyes, through your ears, and through your senses. So if I'm filling my heart up with wisdom and I'm guarding my heart from anything outside of that, the overflow of my heart will be wisdom coming out my mouth. And when it comes out my mouth and I start to think about it, then I start to act on those things. Talk will lead to thought. Thought will create action. Talk comes from an overflow of the heart. Guard your heart. Watch your mouth. Verse 21 through 23 broke it down. In verse 24 through 27, fill your heart with wisdom and protect it at all costs. Fill your heart with wisdom. Now, this isn't to say, and people have called me on this. I got in trouble the other day. I was talking with a friend, and he said, you made a joke at like the Vibe Room. I was at the Vibe Room, and I'm a sarcastic guy. I like comedy. I like to give people a hard time at times. And he said that somebody was sitting, and they said that what I said wasn't in line with who I was. And I was like, okay, I respect that. I want to get better at it. And they were like, and I said, tell me more. He said, well, they said that you talk about like Jesus and you talk about like the word and the Bible and stuff like that. And then you joked around about something. And I was like, guys, you got to understand there's so many different facets, right? There's so many different facets to a person. And so when I say this, fill your heart up with wisdom and protect it at all costs, it doesn't mean that you're only going to sit in your house and just read the Bible. That's going to be a boring life, honestly. But when we fill ourselves up, when we give ourselves enough of it, when we spend a little bit of time on it, on principle-based wisdom, it's incredible. It doesn't mean that you don't have a good time. It doesn't mean that you don't watch things or listen to things. I'm a huge hip-hop fan. I don't think that hip-hop is all wisdom, although because I add wisdom to my regiment, I can see some wisdom from it. I can draw some things from it. Now I'm justifying right now too, but I just want to encourage you that you don't have to be, you don't have to go to church every single day of the week and, just sit in prayer in your room. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying that how can we add action? How can we apply wisdom in our life? How can we, fill our heart with it and just guard it? Like guard it at all costs as much as humanly possible. And wisdom can be fun. Wisdom can be funny. Wisdom can be sarcastic. Wisdom can have so many different facets to it. And so when you look into it, I just want to encourage you because it doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be a scenario where you're thinking that, I just have to sit and I have to sit up straight and I have to do these things. Nah, you could take your notes in your Bible however you want. You can open it up when you want. And I remember teaching 4-year-old Sunday school and, they said, Teacher Kelly, it's time to pray. And I took all the kids. I said, hey, and they were 4-year-olds. I said, hey, do you have to close your eyes when you pray? And they all said, yes, Teacher Kelly. And I said, no. I said, do you have to get on your knees to pray? And they said, yes, Teacher Kelly. I said, no. I said, do you have to clasp your hands to pray? He said, yes. I said, no. And all the teachers by this time were looking at me thinking, what is he teaching these kids? And I said, praying is nothing more than talking to God. And if you talk to God, talk to him in your language, talk to him the way that you would talk to your friend because he wants to be with you. Now, I talked to him a lot. I talked to him during the Titans game this week. Now, he didn't answer my prayers, but maybe it was because that wasn't supposed to be. I still think that, we should win. The Titans should win. The Warriors should win all the time. And I pray and I ask him. Now, I'm not sitting, I don't, sit down and Warriors and Titans. But I am just, saying like, yo, God, can you hook a brother up? Like, we had a rough couple of years with the Titans. We need some love. I would like a Super Bowl. Why don't you bring that? Why don't we pray on that and make it signature to you? So as we finish up, our love will remain conditional until we spend time with him. Personal time with him. Seek his wisdom and accept his grace. It's that simple. Our love will remain conditional until we spend time with him, seek his wisdom, and accept his grace. It is truly that simple. If you want to express unconditional love, it won't always be perfect. I wish that I could say that it would be, but it probably won't. I want to encourage you because there are going to be some conditions on your love. There's going to be some of you right around this Christmas time that, again, you're going to bless somebody and they're not going to receive it in the best way. They're going to act a fool when you already have the gift in the closet wrapped up and ready to go. But what God is saying is he's got a lot of gifts that are wrapped up in the closet ready to go that he's going to bless you with. And we've been acting a fool. So just the same way that he extends grace to us, extend grace to others, and we could practice that unconditional love. So hopefully you have a phenomenal day. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Inchstones. Remember, we have another show, which is an interview show. I interview some of the most iconic people in the world. They give advice to my kids by name. And then we also have a show where I go live and I call my friends randomly without them knowing that they're on the podcast, which is absolutely hilarious. You guys will love it. It's called You Have to Meet My Friends. Comment, subscribe, like, do all the things that you know that you should do. And I want to challenge you to do this. Share this with somebody who needs to hear the message about unconditional love. That's my challenge. I want to thank all of you for being here with me. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
On my mind, I got two shines, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise.